1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody, welcome to this episode of All the Way, the first episode of 2021. This is your host, Big John.
And I am Phil X.
All right, Phil X. Ready to kick off the year, buddy?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready to kick its ass like I want to kick COVID's ass.
There you go. You know, it's been a while since we've been in studio. It's due to the pandemic. We're in New York. No big secret there. It's hit us again with a vengeance. You know, we've had to lock down a little bit, but now we've been able to get out of the house, get the masks off. Well, Phil X, you still got your mask. You still got your mask.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, I've gone maskless in strict defiance of science, I guess. I don't know. But you're in another room.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
It's through the magic of video that it appears that we might be in the same room.
Right.
You're in the booth over there. So
it's magic.
So, so COVID can't penetrate.
Fuck a COVID, man.
Yeah, just like me with my wife. It can't penetrate. All right. We're here with All the Way. So, Phil X, one of the big issues, a lot happened while we were away, right?
A lot.
There was a presidential election.
Yes.
And, you know, our main man, President Trump.
Praise him.
Praise him. He got cheated out of his victory.
Man.
He got cheated. He got
fucked.
You got this libtard Biden.
Right.
With this affirmative action hire, Kamala Harris.
Right.
They're in charge now for some fucking reason. I don't know why. They just did not, you know, the deep state. You know what I'm saying.
Right.
The deep state.
The pedophiles won.
Q. Listen to Q. Q knows. But anyway, listen. We're not here to make excuses for anybody. But you know what it is, Phil? After, you know, I've been in the corporate world for a little bit in my life. You know that, right?
Right. You old as fuck, man.
I'm old as fuck. But back in the day, when you work for big corporations, after a big project gets done and it didn't quite go the way it should, you know, you used to do something called a sunset review.
The fuck is that?
A sunset review. That's a corporate term. It's one of these terms that someone got paid a lot of money to come up with, you know?
So you're on a picnic or something like that?
Something like that.
You hold hands, make each other peanut butter jelly sandwiches.
Peanut butter jelly. But anyway, yeah, no, something like that. So basically, a sunset review is you sit, like everybody that was involved with the project sits down and says what went wrong. And there's no judgments. There's no...
Sounds like women.
Yeah, no pointing fingers. But what it does is it says, okay, here's what went wrong so we can fix it going forward or just avoid the mistake. You know, so it's really just taking a look and taking stock is what it is.
Okay.
So in that sort of spirit, because, you know...
MAGA.
We want to make America great again, even if it's in 2024, you know.
Right.
So let's do our own Rube sunset review.
All right.
To understand what went wrong. We got to know what went wrong, Phil.
Are we going to be sincere and authentic about this?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so then the whole thing's going to be like, oh.
I don't even know why you're questioning our sincerity about this. Why would you?
Well, exactly.
Serious.
It's not like we're a fucking entertainment show.
No, we're not. We got to be serious.
We're real.
About
This is not opinion. This is facts and news.
Science.
Yes, sir.
Don't be a science denier. Listen to me. I know about science. I am a scientist, after all.
I look at the mask I wear. You can't beat this mask when it comes to shielding off against the Ronas.
Nope.
Look at it. See? I can talk still. Right. I can still breathe.
Right.
Right? So it's not restricted.
No.
Right? So it's versatile. I got the mask on like they always say. Wear the mask. I'm wearing a mask.
It's not restricted at all. Jews, blacks, anybody can
wear
a
no.
mask.
I'm coming for all of you.
There you go. All right. So let's go, Phil X. So the way I decided to approach this is we have to understand who these Trump voters are. We have to understand the taxonomy of Trumpers. Taxonomy is a big word, Phil.
I know what it is. They're married cousins.
No.
Oh, no?
No. Taxonomy is what us biologists refer to. Is, like when you put stuff in categories.
Oh, gotcha.
Kingdom, phylum.
Oh, okay. So you
Class.
file them like you file them in a jar?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, seriously. 100% shoot. I'm going to try to recall the 7 classes of taxonomic order in biology. Look, not even, and do it from memory, all right? Just to show you. Real scientists here. It is kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species.
Whoa.
Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species.
Wow, you a genius, man.
Yeah. By the way, you know how I remember that shit?
How?
I use a mnemonic from college.
Okay.
You're gonna laugh, but it's the only way I remember it. Killers prefer chicks of fine genital structures. I made that up myself in college.
They're gonna stab that shit
And that was, seriously, 40 years ago.
with their penis.
40 years ago. Even then, Big John thinking of boobs constantly. Constantly thinking of boobs.
Wow. I think you probably thinking of boobs like coming out the womb.
Yeah, I said, I can't wait to shoot out of my mom's hoo-ha straight to her boobs.
I was thinking more about the nurse's boobs, but okay,
too,
we can make it weird.
We've got Oedipal issues. All sorts of weird fucking shit here at All the Way today. Because it's the first show back, Phil.
Yes.
It's the first show back. You got to work out the weird kinks. You know what I'm saying? But not too much, because you still got to do an entertaining show, you know?
Oh, no, we talking about entertaining.
This
is facts, this news.
An educational show.
There you go.
An educational show.
There you go.
Anyway, all right, so let's look at the taxonomy of Trumpers. Let's look at the people who voted for Trump, who came up a little short. Little short. It wasn't by much. Still 71 million of those guys out there, right?
Oh, man.
All right. So here it is. The first type of rube, I'll call a regular rube.
Okay.
A regular rube.
So this is like the baseline right here,
These are
right?
baseline rubes, okay? These are the run-of-the-mill rubes. You know, they were born Republicans. They'll die Republicans. They vote for whoever is the Republican. Doesn't matter what the Republican does. It's just born Republican, vote Republican, die Republican. You know, that's the way they are. It's just the way they are. So these types of Trumpers, you know, they think Trump might be the worst candidate that the GOP ever put up.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, they held their nose and they said, we're voting for him because Hillary Clinton is shitty. We don't want her. And we'll vote for him because Biden is like too much of a dipshit. And, you know, we don't want to give socialism a chance. Fuck that. And also because Trump's not Jewish.
Ah.
So, like, these are the regular rubes. The regular rubes. Basically, they're the Republicans of the 80s.
Right.
You know, they still love
Reagan.
I mean, who doesn't, right? They love Reagan. They love the conservatism. And the fact that Trump isn't even a conservative doesn't bother them.
Right.
As long as he's not a registered Democrat, they'll vote for any Republican. It doesn't matter who it is. You know, these guys think they're living in the 80s. Even though basically Republicans, ever since Papa Bush, basically became Democrats themselves. They don't care. We're Republicans, born Republican, die Republican. And these rubes roughly make up 25% of the party.
Okay.
Okay?
25%?
Roughly. All right. So that's one category. Baseline rubes, Phil. All right. The second category of Trumpers, let's call them the religious rubes.
Oh, shit.
Now, you know, first of all, Phil, I don't want you being some goddamn heathen over there, some communist fucking heathen over there. When I say religious rubes, I expect an amen from you.
Fuck that.
No, come on, say it with me. Amen. Amen.
I'm an atheist.
It doesn't matter.
For the show, I'll say it. Fuck it.
Phil, you communist heathen, you're going to burn in hell, you fuck.
Give me my toilet paper.
You're going to die in hell, you fuck. Anyway, the religious rubes. These folks are born-again hallelujah types. You know, the kind that they dance around with snakes. And
they believe in fairy tales.
They believe in fairy tales. They speak in, you know, they'll pretend like they, and then they think,
right.
They speak in tongues.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing. They dance on one foot.
Right,
you know,
right.
Like that sort of thing.
Got the snakes going up the vag.
There you go. This category of rubes is also for Trump. They're like huge for Trump. Like they literally think Trump was sent here by Jesus himself to save America from, I don't know, Jews, I guess, or Muslims. I don't know. They're here to save America and to protect us from faggotry. That's the other thing they believe, right? Like no Jews, no Muslims, no fags. So they think Trump is their protection for that. Okay?
That fat
fuck. They'll vote for Trump regardless because the Almighty himself, and they don't buy into this shit like, that God might be a woman or something. God's a man with a big gray beard. You know what I'm saying? He sent Trump here himself to be our moral compass, the moral compass of America, Phil.
Wow. So I guess they would let him grab him by the pussy.
Yeah, because despite the fact that Trump's been married 3 times, admitted to banging porn stars, been married, like I said, 3 times, has had God knows how many children, I've lost count. His wife used to be a lesbian model, right?
Nice.
Like all that stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah.
God and Jesus chose Trump. Like they didn't choose some guy who helps the homeless. They didn't choose whoever the equivalent of Mother Teresa is now. Jimmy Carter, the guy who's 96 and still building houses with his bare hands for the poor.
A carpenter like
Fuck
Joseph?
He's a Democrat. Fuck him.
Fuck that guy.
By the way, Phil, I don't want you to think I missed that. Phil, you folks should understand that when Phil says something, it's gold. He said Jimmy Carter's like Joseph. That's a great line, folks.
I'm a genius.
That's a great line. You gotta with
a big penis.
You gotta acknowledge Phil, man. So Phil, good one on that. I like that because it wasn't written down or anything. But yeah, the fact, for example, that Trump used to hang out all the time with Jeffrey Epstein and party with him.
Mm-hmm.
He was undercover for Jesus, yo.
Banging underage bitches.
Allegedly. That has nothing to do with the fact that he was sent here, Phil, to lead America and put America back on the road to Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, and if you can't see that, you're a heathen communist fuck. Like you, Phil.
Yeah. I say this, though. If Trump is banging underage bitches, allegedly,
yeah,
and tag teaming them with Jeffrey Epstein,
allegedly,
and Epstein died as a witness,
correct?
The man must be holy.
He must be.
Protected by God.
He must be.
Oh, yeah.
He must be. So, these religious rubes, Phil, make up about 25%.
Holy cow. Now, when they say, holy shit, they're talking about what's coming out of Trump's ass, right?
No, well, maybe. I don't know. That's a good one, too. A little, like, too gross, but it was a good joke. I like it.
Hey, I like this shit. Dick fart jokes. Those are the best.
Dick jokes. Nice. All right. So you've got your, Phil, let's review so far. We've got the regular rubes.
Right.
They make up 25% of the party.
Right.
Then we've got the religious rubes that we just talked about. They make up 25% of the party.
Right.
All right. Now let's move on to the other category, the racist rubes. Now, these racist rubes, much like the anti-abortion people, they're a single-issue voting block. Okay? They just have one thing they care about, Phil.
No.
What?
No need.
What? Listen, I'll save you. They just want to keep America white.
Right.
What's wrong with that?
White is right.
White is out of sight.
Yes.
Now, look.
But they can't take the sunlight.
Listen. What these rubes really want, it's simple, okay? These are like the Richard Spencers of the world, Groypers, all these fucking guys. What they want is a white America. They loved Trump when he wanted to put up the wall, because the wall was supposed to keep out the Mexicans. I think, by the way, they only built like 400 feet of that wall.
3 miles.
Yeah, so something.
Nothing.
Yeah, because of the goddamn Democrats blocking it.
Oh, you mean like when he had Republicans in the House, the Senate, and in the White House?
Listen, I don't want to hear any of your justifications.
Oh, I'm just saying.
You fucking heathen. But they don't want this country filled up with Mexicans, Colombians, Chinese, Japanese, Koreans, non-white Europeans, Puerto Ricans, Spaniards, Greeks, Italians. these people aren't white, Phil.
Yeah, that's a long ass list, and there's even more, right?
And listen, we all know this is why the groups get together, right? These are the racist groups, but they mesh well because they mesh well, for example, with the religious groups. Because we all know Jesus is white.
Oh, that's right. And even though everything takes place in Africa,
Absolutely.
he's white. Yeah, that's true.
White. He's white.
I can see that.
Oh, and the other reason they get along with the religious groups, no Jews.
Ah,
No Jews. Can't have Jews.
wow.
Now listen.
The Nazi rule.
Now listen, the thing you have to realize about these racist groups, right? Like their agendas of white America, but like they go to the mat for a lot of other national issues that are important to the Trump base in general. For example, they go to the mat for the right to fly the Confederate flag, to make sure that army bases and schools are still named after Confederate traitors who took up arms against the United States. They got
and losers.
They want to make sure things like no interracial couples are depicted on TV.
Damn, I like banging white bitches.
Like, what's the matter with these commercials and TV shows? Every time I turn them on, Phil, it's always like a black chick married to a white guy.
No, I see a lot of reversal shit now.
Oh, really? There's
oh yeah, because you can't just like dominate a race.
Married to
the black guy.
Yeah.
I see the white chick married to the Asian guy.
Right.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
People of color.
Well, that's why these racist groups, they have a platform, Phil.
Right.
That platform because they're like, we don't want to see that shit.
Right.
Like, white is right, and it's out of sight, and it's got to happen tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Oh, look, spit those rhymes, son.
Absolutely.
I got to tell you something, though. I'm white.
You are, I know.
Yeah, I'm white.
Yeah.
And you want to know why?
Why?
Because you are what you eat, son.
Now, listen. These racist groups, like I said, they go to the mat for issues. They're still going to the mat for the wall to keep Mexicans out, even though Trump lost. They're still going to the mat for the wall. They're also making sure things like NFL players don't take a knee, NBA players don't hold hands in racial solidarity, because that shit is un-American.
That's also weak.
Right?
Right.
So that's what, they're the third leg of the Trump we're doing this sunset review because we're trying to understand, like, how are these groups going to be catered to now that America's not great anymore.
No, that's funny, though, because I got a third leg, too.
Yeah. Now this group, roughly 25% of the base.
Okay. We got 25% left then. Okay.
All right. Now, the other group. Let's call these the recalcitrant groups. Notice the alliteration, Phil, everywhere?
Uh-huh. Hold on a minute. How about for all the stupid people that don't know what that word means? Like me.
Well, look, they don't need to know. They can look it up. Let's just assume they're Trump rubes. Let's just give them the label. Look, these rubes truly believe that they are upholding the great American tradition of rebelling against tyranny. Okay? Now, look. It sounds like this is a noble group of the recalcitrant groups. It sounds like we're against tyranny. We're against governor overlordship and authoritarianism, which, look, let's face it, that's what America was founded on, right? It's supposedly the individual first, the government second. The government is subservient to the individual in America. This is in the Constitution. It's what the founding fathers had envisioned for us, right? Like, these people view themselves as the last and best line of defense. Trump was the best and last line of defense against the tyrannical rule of socialists, of Democrats, of liberals, of big government status, right? And to be honest, Phil, I had trouble with this group putting them here because I agree with a lot of what they say, right? I don't want to be run by some overlord. Do you need an overlord?
Fuck that.
No, right? You don't need any of that. You don't want to be somebody else's bitch, do you?
No, because I already got a bitch. She does that. She's the overlord, actually.
Right. But here's the problem. The recalcitrant rubes are anti-tyranny. It's just that they don't know what tyranny is. So they believe it as a concept, and God bless them.
Yeah.
But they just don't know what tyranny is. For example, they're anti-Fauci. They're anti-Birx, right? Because
Right.
according to them, nobody can fucking tell them that a vaccine is on the way. Nobody can tell them that the Wuhan flu, the Kung flu,
What's up?
right, is anything other than a government plot. They're anti-big government. They're anti-face mask. They're anti-shutdown. Like, listen, there's some truth that maybe the government is heavy-handed during this pandemic, but it's not because they want to take over.
No.
All right? So with these groups, like, they're sort of misguided because they think Trump is the shit when it comes to standing up against tyranny. They just don't understand that Trump himself is a tyrant.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, that's the problem. The problem is that Trump, you may, like, if you're one of the rubes, you may agree with his positions, which is fine. Like, politically, you agree with what he believes. The problem is that when you think Trump is the only one who could do it, and you consider storming the Capitol and leading an insurrection because you think Trump won because fucking Giuliani or Sidney Powell told you that he won, meanwhile, every court in the land has told you that he lost, guess what? You've now become the tyrant.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And here's where you're misguided. Just focus a little bit. All the government is the problem, not just the Democrats, okay? And typically when you look at this group, right, these are people like the Groypers, the Proud Boys, the Aryan Nation, the Klan, right? These are like otherwise they may have fallen under the racist group category.
Oh,
but
right.
because they sort of shape it in terms of being anti-tyrannical, and they have a philosophical leg to stand on. They're a special class of rube.
Right.
So recalcitrant rubes, Phil, they're the ones that like are fighting tyranny, but they just don't understand what tyranny looks like.
Right.
And also they don't like Jews.
Nobody does.
Yeah, apparently not. And now this group also makes up 25%.
Okay, so we're good.
Troop base, right?
So is there
Now
any more groups?
The next group is the meta rubes.
Okay.
I call these the meta rubes. And this is perhaps the most interesting category of rubes, Phil.
Why is that?
Well, these rubes aren't uneducated.
Okay.
They're not hillbillies. They're not low information. They're not low information voters. For example, they understand science.
Mm-hmm.
They understand that vaccines aren't a government plot. They understand that autism isn't caused by vaccines. They understand that the pandemic is real. They understand that there's a virus out there. They're not stupid. They're educated people.
Mm-hmm.
They understand how financial markets work, right? They understand all that shit. They're not stupid. But they act as sort of like Trump's unpaid shock troops.
Mm.
And what do I mean by that? These people, really, the meta-rubes, have some philosophical conflict in them. For example, they're smart, so they can't justify to themselves what Trump is doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, when they say, we want a free market economy,
Right.
and you point out, well, then why do you support Trump? He has tariffs, which are anti-free market. He believes in capping prices. Like, for example, a lot of people, even Democrats, gave Trump credit when he said, well, we're holding down the price of insulin. We're putting laws in place to buy American and shit like that, right? Like, and people are like, yay. But that's not a free market thing. That's a tyrannical thing. That's a Keynesian thing. That's a mercantilist thing. That's a nationalist thing. So when you point that out to the meta-rubes, who, by the way, are smart enough to understand that difference, they just like what Trump is doing, right? So they're like, they've got this conflict. They're like, well, we kind of like what Trump is doing because it's benefiting us, but at the same time, Trump's a douchebag. So how do we reconcile this? We come up with meta explanations. So for example, here's an example. A meta-rube will look at you and say, when you say like, how can Trump be free market when he has tariffs?
Right.
The Trump rube will sit back and say, well, that's because what you don't know is he's doing 5D chess with the Chinese because they've been manipulating currencies for the last 40 years, and he's doing this as a counteraction to their currencies to bring, they'll construct this whole theory, right? And then you point out something like, well, like tariffs really have no effect on currency manipulation. There are two separate things.
Right.
Well, that's because you're not hip to what's going on. Trump is hip. There's smart, there's 3D smart, then there's 5D chess smart.
Mm-hmm.
So these meta-rubes, rather than just admit, look, we just have a hard-on for the guy, and we can't explain it, they construct excuses for Trump that Trump himself can't think of. Right? So every time Trump says something like Muslims are rapists, like meta-rubes can't just say, well, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
What they'll do is they'll start constructing shit. They build alternate realities. So like this came to a head with the election, right? So you go to a meta-rube and you'll say like, do you really think Trump had the election stolen from him? Well, what we're saying is if it were stolen from him, you'd never know about it. So maybe it was stolen from him. And you're like, well, that's a self-defeating argument, because then you can make that argument about anything.
Yeah.
You can make the argument that Martians gave the election to Trump. And because you don't have proof of it, if it did happen, you wouldn't know of it, right? It's like a logical, philosophical fallacy. But these meta-rubes like to think that they're smart. And they are smart. Don't get me wrong. Most of them are like these highly educated people. I deal with these people all the time on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And as an example, when I was in the corporate world, I used to run into this all the time, like especially with upper management, right? They'd come to you and say, Phil, they'd say something completely stupid. And it would be so stupid that you, as a smart person, would sit there and go, well, he can't be a president of a company and be this stupid.
Right.
Therefore, he must mean something else that I'm not getting.
I got you now.
Right? And you're sitting there going like, someone will say like, you know, let's say I sold computer software and it wasn't selling well. The president will come to you and say, well, maybe it's because the fucking font isn't right. And then he'd walk away. And you'd be sitting there going, what the fuck does font have to do with like a stock trading program? And you'd sit there and say, well, nobody could say something that stupid. So he must be talking about something else.
Right.
Like maybe there's studies been done, psychological studies that say one font makes you react faster than the other. And you could save half a millisecond of screen time if you use a smaller font. And you yourself start constructing this shit. And then you realize the guy was a tool and he just meant change the font. And I can't tell you how many times this happened to me, like in the corporate world. So after about a certain point in my career, I just accepted the fact that stupid people rise to the top sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
For whatever other reason, charm, good looks, big dicks, whatever. They go to the top. And there's no reason why they should go to the top. That's right, Phil. So after a while, in the corporate world, you learn some people are just stupid. There's no need to try to dig deeper.
Right.
Like I just learned after a while to say, please, I'm stupid. Please explain that comment to me.
Yeah.
And if someone was willing to explain it to you, that means I missed something. If someone says, well, that's your problem and walks away,
yeah,
that means they were bullshitting.
Right.
Okay? These meta-rubes, because Trump has never admitted to bullshitting,
yeah,
they think all their constructs are real. So let me give you an example. These type of people are someone like Scott Adams, the guy who draws Dilbert. If you follow him on Twitter, he's become Trump Rube number one,
right.
But he's also Trump Meta Rube number one. So he thinks he's being clever by giving you all these like, really? Well, as a software coder, I could tell you that Dominion could easily have changed those algorithms without anybody knowing. Yeah, they could have, but they didn't. You took them to court. The court found otherwise. So in other words, Scott Adams has this construct where he'll just keep changing the goalposts so that every time you prove him wrong, he has like yet another theory for you. And it just doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that when someone loses an election, we just sit here and create dopey theories that go on for years that can't be disproven. You can't prove a negative. It's an old philosophical thing. You can't prove a negative. So like, is there a God? Is there no God? You can't prove it. One way or another, you can't prove it, right? So you either accept it as being an unknown or you just don't use it in an argument.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
So these meta-rubes, Scott Adams, James Woods, the actor.
Oh, he's an asshole.
Another one like that. Like James Wood, from what I understand, is actually a very intelligent person. Like he has a high IQ, he's very good at math. Like he wins all these poker tournaments, I think I've read. Like he's not an idiot. You know, he's not like your typical Hollywood blabbering, blithering liberal idiot. You know what I mean? Like he's a smart man. He's just now convinced himself. So someone like Scott Adams, someone like James Woods, internally, Phil, I think they have a conflict. They're like, we love Trump. They look at Trump and they just have an emotional response to him. And they're like, we like this cocksucker. He's bold, he's brash, he's as dumb as a rock, but he's made $1 billion. How does that happen? How does
Daddy.
that fucking happen? Right. Their only explanation is that he must be working on a level far beyond us. And I'm here to tell you, Trump's a fucking idiot.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? He's an idiot. He has certain skills. He's very charming, from what I understand. We know people. You and I have met people that we consider to be smart, good businessmen, good businesswomen, and they'll sit here and swear to you that Trump is a genius because they've met him and they're like, he's so charming, he motivates people and all that, which may be true. Like, there's plenty of motivating, charming people that are fucking idiots.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So you just have to accept it. These meta groups. Now, by the way, these meta groups, roughly 25% of the base.
Okay, so you know you had 125, right?
That's okay. Roops can't add.
Oh.
That's okay.
Good point.
Yeah. So there you have it, Phil. Now that we're in 2021 with a new president, I hope, Phil, listen, I hope you took this seriously, because this is what we call the taxonomy of Trumpers, okay?
I take everything seriously.
You should, because we're here to edumacate.
Edumacations.
There you go. Anyway, so we've gotten to the end. I hope you found this useful. Phil.
Yes.
Was this useful to the people, you think?
I think so.
Because I don't want people to think we were joking about this.
Oh, no, we're serious.
We're serious because, look, you can't discard 71 million people, Phil. These are the people who voted for Trump. You can't just toss them aside.
How many did Biden get?
73, 74?
Oh, okay. So you can discard the 74 million, but not the 71 million.
All right. Phil, how you feeling?
I feel good.
You feeling strong? By the way, Phil, I noticed you got a t-shirt on. What's that?
Oh, Nerd Fantasy Sports.
Nerdy by nature. Is that
Yes.
what it says?
Yes, Nerdy by Nature.
Nerdy by nature.
Yep, they did that sound. OPP.
OPP.
Yep.
Wow. So these are the guys you're involved in?
Oh,
Involved with?
well, no, I actually know a guy that's involved with this.
Oh.
Right, and I was cold. I was like, yo, yeah, sure I can borrow?
Oh,
He gave me this, and you know.
Cut the shit. You're supporting your friend.
Yeah, that too.
Are you getting a little, little on the side?
No, I'm getting this on the side with his wife.
I thought you might be getting a little kickback.
No, I'm kicking.
Haven't you learned from
And she's
Trump?
putting it back.
Haven't you learned from Trump? No branding for free.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I just want the pussy.
All right. There you go. Until next time, when we do this again, this has been Big John.
And I'm Big Felix.
All right. Until next time. Peace. Hey everybody, thanks for watching the latest episode of All the Way. Want you to come back and check out some more, so just click up in this corner for more videos. Also down there for some extra videos. And if you're really generous, subscribe to the channel. Click down there. Remember to go all the way.